Hello, my dear friends. You're welcome to Netcode-Hub channel. In this video, we are going to talk about how to trigger operations automatically in your web API using Hangfire. Do you have some methods in your API that you want to call automatically, such as email or newsletter operations? You know, when you have this, you want to send an email to your client, maybe weekly, daily, or monthly. You need not to open it and send it to yourself or manually do it. You can create a method to start the operation automatically using Hangfire. And that is what we're going to have a look today. I have an example on the screen, as you can see. So let's have a look. We're going to talk about 3 operations that we can perform with Hangfire. The first one is a background job. We're going to have this enqueue. We're going to have the schedule job. We're going to have continuation job. And we're going to have a look at recurring jobs. And at the end, we have a look at the dashboard. So let's first have a look. Now, when I launch or run this web API, I have the console over here. And to do this, the console is going to help us to test this. The first one is the enqueue job. Now, this enqueue job starts as soon as a button is clicked. So as soon as you want to perform it, as soon as an operation is initialized, this enqueue starts. So here we are using an item as our model, and we've connected to a database using the SQL server. Now, as soon as I click on this, we are going to add data to the database, right? As soon as we finish adding the data, we're going to see the data being presented over here. So let's have a look. Alright, so I've just rearranged the screen so it can fit. Now you can see that we're going to post an item here. Now if I click on it, you can see we are adding just item name and item quantity. So let's try this out. So let's pass in, okay, so you can see this. Alright, so watch this. Let's try to pass in something over here. So we have something like television. And let's have the quantity as maybe 50. If I click on execute, what happens here? So this is going to be added to the database. And you can see, as soon as you do that, there's a job. There's a job over there, and it has called the same method that we just added. And now it has retrieved the name and now the quantity. This starts as soon as you are done. Okay? As soon as you click, as soon as a function has been initialized. Alright, let's see. This is also a schedule one. So this, it means it takes in a time. So the time that you want this to execute, that's a schedule one. Now you've set this to execute after 5 seconds passed when we click on this button. So if I click on try this out and I'll click this button, it must delay for 5 seconds before that method executes. Now, what is it going to do? It's going to get us a list of the items that we have. So this is the first one. Let's do this. And as soon as I click on it, I'm going to count for 5 seconds. And I've clicked on it. So let's see. So 5 seconds, maybe 3 now. And we have 4 now. You're going to be the 5 now soon. So we're going to have the list displayed here. That's going to get us a list of the items in the database. Alright, so you can see we have it over there. I think it was 8 seconds. Yeah. 8 seconds. So you can see it has gotten us a list of the items in the database. That is a scheduled job. With a scheduled job, we need to provide the time that it needs to take to use that. When the time elapses, then it's fired. Okay, that is a schedule one. Now let's have a look with the continuation job. So this continuation job executes, let me put it in this way. Maybe you have 3 jobs that you want to execute. Each job must have an ID. Now, what this continuation job does here is the first one is going to wait. The first one is going to execute. As soon as it's execute, it has a job ID. The second one is going to wait for the job ID. That means for the first one to finish execution before it also starts. So it is in a chain. So you could add multiple jobs that you want, but the first one will start. Second one will make sure the first one has ended before it continues in that chain method. Okay, so this is what's going to do. If I click on this, let's execute this and see this job here that is for the continual wait. So here I just delayed it in time. I use task.delay for about 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 18 seconds, because I don't want to view or start everything. Now let's see. So the first one is going to pop up. Now let's see. So this is the page. So the first one is going to pop up. Then it's going to delay for I think 5 seconds or 4 seconds. Then the next one will start. So let's wait and see what we have here. So you can see that we have, this is the first one, we have second one, third one, you can see we have the fourth one, and it is not done yet. We still have one more to go. So let's wait and see. Good. So you can see they are coming. Good. So that is a continuation job. So they are chained together. The first one must wait for the second one must wait for the first one to get finished, then it starts. The third one must wait for the second one to get finished to get started. Now, how did each know that the first one, the previous one, has finished? That is what we need. You need to use the job ID. So you give the job ID to maybe the method 2, and now it checks from the method 1 that, are you done? If yes, then the method 2 continues. After that, we assign method 2 ID to the third one. The third one also checks method 2, are you fired? If yes, then it also gets fired. All right, now let's see. That is the third one. Now the last one here, it is a recurring jobs. So this, it recurs all the time. So when you start it, the day or the time that the duration that you specify, when that duration elapses all the time, it gets fired. Now with this, we are saying every 1 minute. So let's see, if I click on this, every 1 minute, you're going to have a look at it and it's going to loop. This, it doesn't end. It's going to loop till thy kingdom come, okay? So it's going to loop. Now let's wait. So the first method is going to fire it. I'm going to see the list over here. Now the second one is also going to fire it with every 1 minute as interval. Yeah, so you can see the first one has popped up. So that's the first one. Now let's wait and see. The second one also going to pop up. You can see the second one has also come. Now you wait and see the third one as well. So let me just move this up so we can see the next one. So we have an empty screen. Now let's wait and see the next one. Yeah, so see we have one over here and this one as well. So these are the recurring jobs. Now it recurs all the time. Now to see this, when you go to a localhost and now that's our dashboard, you can see from our dashboard that we have a recurring job over here. Now if I click on this, you can see we have this current recurring job over there. And that's a recurring job. Now there's a job method or the job method that it is calling from this controller. And this is a chronic. So you can see this is a cron, the time that it uses. Okay. So here we are specifying, I think, every second or so, or every minute or so. Now there's a site that you can generate your own cron. I'll show you when we start with the practical aspect. All right. So, and as you can see, so this is also the job ID that we specified as well. You can trigger it now, or you can also delete it. Now let's see, it still keeps what? Let's check. You see, it is still executing this job as this time elapses. So as you can see from here, it is still executing, and you can stop this job. So until you manually stops it, it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop the execution. So let's delete that. And as soon as I'm done with that, it stops executing, as you can see from here. All right, so that is it. Now let's get to the practical aspect. So we're going to create a web API project. So launch a Visual Studio 2022 or any version. And now let's create a web API project. So before we create the new project, permit me to say this, okay? Thank you so much for watching this video as well. And as you know, I'll do my best to make this simple and clear, okay? So you can get it. And also, you know, this Netcode-Hub channel, and I am Frederick, your lesson facilitator as well. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, and click on the notification icon, so as soon as I upload a new video, you can receive the update as soon as possible. Okay, you can also like this video to push or help this channel grow. And we have more information for you at the description, so you can check. Maybe you're asking will you get the source code? Yes, I'll put a link over there in the description to the GitHub. you can just go in there and clone it or download the source code and also review. All right, so now let's move on. Now we click on the file, then new project. And this project, you're going to choose web API. So click on this and the last one, no, this one, last one or this one, ASP.NET Core Web API. And I'm going to name the name of, I'm going to give the name as demo, I'm going to name the name, right? I'm going to give the name as Demo Web API with Hangfire. So this is going to be the name at the GitHub, okay? So click on next and let's move on. I'm using the framework version of 7.0. And you can see we have everything, the use controller and everything set as well, the default one. Now let's get it created. All right, so as soon as it has finished creating, now let's install our NuGet packages, and that is what we're going to use. You know, we're going to have a look at is creating database connection and getting connected and etc. All right, so let's have our database connection by installing these packages first, then we move on with that. So quickly, I'll just go to Solution Explorer. Then I'm going to offload this project. Then from this, with the item group, these are the packages that we need. So please pause the video and try to install these packages. We need the Hangfire and we need EF Core and also EF Core Design and SQL Server. And also you need system.data.sql client. So install these packages and we are good to go. All right, so let's say you are done installing. What I need to do here is I'm going to reload this with dependencies so I can get them installed correctly. All right, so I'll just click on this and I'll click on reload project with dependencies. All right, so when this video ends and your heart is touched and you want to do something, you want to buy me coffee, I'll put the link in the description. You can also buy me coffee as well. And I will be very, very glad to get it or to receive it. All right. If you're not touched to keep watching the video, maybe one day, you also get touched. All right. This is just a joke. All right. So let's move on. What I'm going to do here is, let's see. So dependencies and manage NuGet packages. And let's see if these packages are well installed. Yep, they are here. So you can see Hangfire. We have all the other ones, SQL data.client. We have it, EF Core. We have all stuff. All right, so we save this. And what we're going to do here is let's build this project and see. So build. So let's wait for the build to succeed then. All right, so it is even done. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do here is, you know, we are going to, this is just a demo one. So we're going to create just an item model. Let me just close this. So we're going to create this item model, Solution Explorer, then right click and now let's add a class. And now this class, we're going to name it as item. Within this item model, let's pass in a few properties here, name and quantity. That is all we need. Now we need to create our AppDB context class. So let's do that. Let's save that and solution again. Right click on the same project, click on add. Now let's go class, and that is an AppDB context class. Let's put it there. And now this is what you want to do for this class. It's going to inherit from DB context. I believe you know this, right? So DB context, and you create a constructor passing this the same, and we are referring to the base, that is the DB context. We have only one module that is known as an item, so we're going to create a table known as items in the database. All right, so from this, let's create our database connection string. We can do that in the appsetting.json. Let's do that quickly. So from here, we can just put it down on top here, not down. Okay, so you can see the server is local, database name is Hangfire DB. Let me name this as demo Hangfire DB for the database name. So these are the siblings that I need to add. They go with it. So let's move on. All right, now we are done with this. Let's register this. Let's do that in the program.cs file. That's the database connection. So first of all, what we are doing here is we want to create a connection string. We want to store it so we can use it anytime that we want. All right, and make sure you put it before the build. If you put it after the build, you're doomed. So put it here. You create a connection string. So this is going to be the general one, and we get a connection string name as a default connection. Where from this default connection guy, don't worry, check it over here, app settings, and that is it. You're good to go, right? Let's move on. Okay, so in here, we create our database service. Let's add a service in. Now we're going to put it down here. So that's our database service. So this is our service. We're going to use an SQL server using this class that we created as a context class. And in case it is not found, this is not found, throw this error to the user. All right. Now let's also create or add our Hangfire service as well. So we can do that down here. All right, and that is as soon as I drop them, you can see we have this namespace added using statements. So make sure you put them, if you are not there automatically, put them as well. And you see we add a service over here, and now here we are using an SQL server storage. You could use SQLite, you could use memory storage, you could use any other storage. But since the database is connected to SQL server, then definitely we have to put it once so that everything will be in the one database. So SQL server, then you pass in the connection string over here. Remember that we created over here as a global one, put it here, and that's all, right? And also add this a Hangfire server to it. All right, when we're done with the last one that we need to do here is to enable the dashboard. The dashboard that I showed you, let's put it down here, enable the dashboard. So we do that, we save it, and we are good to go for the configuration and settings as well. So what else? The next thing here is to create our controller, and we start to do some stuff. But first of all, yeah, let's finish the controller first, then we can perform migration, and that'll be all. So let's go to the solution. And in here where you have this controller, open it. You can see the default one as weather forecast. Let's update this because we don't want to use this. You want to get the data from the database, so make it as item controller. Yes, rename everything. Now here I'm going to clear all and leave the main method. Okay. Now what we're going to do first here is going to create our constructor. Now this constructor, you're going to pass in the database connection string, only the connection string, the context class. So we got a constructor over here, we pass in the connection context class, then we initialize it over here. So as you can see, after injected and initialize, let's create our first method. And the first one here is the type of the job. The first one is a background job. Now this background job executes as soon as a method is being called or its method is called. All right. So let's pass it here. It is just a background job. And now this background job, what you want to do here is you want to display message or the object as soon as it is posted, as soon as a post is made. So as you can see from here, there is a route. You know this already, isn't it? And we have this method name over here and connecting item.add new item. That is the one coming in, the incoming object. And also you see we save changes. After doing that, there is a Hangfire method. So background job.enqueue. Then we are calling this method display background item. We pass in the item object here, and that is a method here. This could be a service that you can call. Okay, it could be a service, and we pass in this method down over here. Now what is this method doing? You can see it is receiving this item object and now consoling. Is it consoling or writing? Consoling and writing, or writing to console, doing every stuff. So it is displaying the item name and the quantity, and also creating a new line. All right. So let's do that. Now let's perform database migration first, so we can try this only. Now here, package manager console. If you're not having yours, where can you find yours? Don't worry. Click on tools, then click on you get package manager console. You got it. Come here and let's move on. After doing this, so we can just clear this from the screen. CLS, we can clear everything here. Then what we're going to do here is we're going to say .NET. But first, let's build it first before we can continue on. So right click on the project and click on build. Let's wait for the build to be done. Then we do continue on. All right, so succeeded. Let's go. .NET EF migrations. And then that is the first. So first here it is dynamic. You can change it to any name that you want, but here's supposed to be migrations. Yeah. So let's run this. Oh, no projects. All right. So ls. Then let's copy this project and open it. So cd, open the project. Then let's do it again. Okay, now problem solved. Yeah, so build succeeded. Now let's wait. Yeah, so file created. Now let's update it. But before we update it, you see there's a folder called migrations and there's a file that it has created. Now we don't have time to go through this, okay? We are not concentrating on the migration aspect, or rather Hangfire. So let's move on. Let's build this again. So build it. And even if you don't know what it entails, no problem, because there's only file to know. You can still continue with that without knowing it. Now let's do this. Let's update so.net ef database, then update, and add a name that you use as first. And now let's wait. Yeah, so you see it has run the migration file. Now we have the database created and all stuff as well. Okay, and the first thing to do here is let's run this application to see this method. Okay, this method works. So right click on this, click on this, and let's see. Alright, so as soon as you do that, you have the method over here. Now I want to, okay, so you have it set like this. And now what we are doing here, let me bring this console as well. Now we say that this console, as soon as you run, you have some stuff in here, and that is the Hangfire. So when you check our database, you see we have some tables created by this automatically. Let's quickly do that. So SQL Server object, and this, if I refresh this is a server. If I click on database, you can see we have demo, right? Demo Hangfire, that is over this. And mine was the Hangfire DB, and this is the one that we are doing now. So when I click on tables, you can see you're going to have some different tables that we did not create. We have it there automatically, and that is a work of this Hangfire. You can see we have them: hash, job, parameter, queue, list, schema, server, set, state, and etc. All right, so let's move on. There's not much important to us. Now let's move on here. So if I click on this, it's going to execute that. So click on try this out. Let's add the first one. So string, and let's say this is TV, right? And here the quantity I'm going to pass in is 200. Click on execute. Now as soon as it executes, we wait here and you can see we're going to have the list of the item. Good, you have it set. So that's the queue. All right, so you see just one line of code, you can actually do that. We are calling this method, we pass in the object, and that's all. So as soon as this method fired, this also gets fired as well. All right, that is the enqueue, okay, enqueue job. Now let's have a look with the next background job, and that is known as the schedule job. So with the schedule job, you need to schedule the time that you want it to execute. So here, I'm scheduling this. So you can see with the schedule job, it is going to display a list of items 8 seconds passed after calling this method. So when you click on this button to call this method, we're going to count for 8 seconds and that method is going to execute. Let's reduce it to 5 because we don't have time. 5 seconds here and you're going to fire it. So we have the same, we get a list of data from the database over here. We convert it to a list. Background job.schedule. Then here you can see it is the same method, but this time it's adding one parameter to it, and that's going to be the daytime. So you pass new daytime offset, you pass daytime.utc now, and you could add year, you could add month, you could add decade, right? Decade, right? If you live to decade, then you can add it as well. Okay, so here you're adding 5 seconds and we return okay to the item list, and now we are saying do console stuff. So we pass in the list over here. It first creates a line on top, then it is saying, or it says that name and quantity as a label. Then it is looping through the list that is coming in, and now consoling item.name and the quantity. So writing the item name and the quantity. Now after at the end of the day, it has to write a line to it. All right, so let's save this. Now let's wait for this to get refreshed. We have that method state as well. Let's see. All right, so that's the method. If I click on get, where's the console? It is over here. Now try this out. And let's see what's going to happen here. You have to get a list over here. So this is the start one. This is the query from your database, and a Hangfire will follow soon. After 5 seconds, you must have this stated or displayed, and that is it. Name and the quantity. We have only one item here. When we decide to add another one, let's try this out. Add one item, and this item has been added. As soon as we execute the second one to the schedule one, we wait for 5 seconds, and the 5 seconds is going to have the 2 items in the list. All right, so we still wait for that to finish for 5 seconds to be done. Then, all right, so you can see we have the TV and our string, as you know. Let's go to the next job, and that's going to be for the continuation job. Okay, so continuation job. Now, what is this continuation job? It is like in the chain method. So the first one execute, it gives the ID to the next one in that manner. So this is a background continuation or continuing job with. You will see we get a list, and now we start the first job by scheduling. So we schedule 5 seconds. So 5 seconds is going to execute. Then it's going to wait for 5 seconds over here. We don't have time, so let me just remove all this time wasting. So let me remove all this. Okay, so this is what it's doing. Now we say we have the first job, and that's the default job ID. This is the ID for this job, and now it is do console start, the same method that we are called over here. That is it. Okay, then here we add the seconds over here, 5 seconds. So 5 seconds you execute. After executing and finishing, you get the ID over here, and we start a new job. This job has to continue with this after this job has finished. That's why you specify this here, the ID. So check and track if this first job is done, then continue on. So this is get item quantity, passing the list of items over here, and that is it. When this is also done, the new job needs to pass in the job ID 1 and see if it has finished, and so forth. So you can see that they are in the chain method. Okay, the ID needs to be passed, so you can just keep tracking of it to check if it has finished, then it also get filed or executed. And that is the get item quantity method. So it accepting a list of item, then it is consoling. Yeah, it is writing to the console the total quantity of the item, creating a new line in front, and at the end creating a new line. All right, so let's save this, and now let's see. All right, so we'll continue with it. Now, where's our console? That is this one. So if I click on continue with, try this. So this is the SQL. Let's see the Hangfire as well. All right, so you see we have all executed at once. This is the first one. We have the total quantity, the first one, total quantities, and etc. That is it for the continuation job. The last one that I want to talk about here is a recurring job. That is what most people use. Okay. So if you want to submit newsletter to your client every week, you need a recurring job. You don't need the background continuous job. So recurring has to recur all the time until you die. Even when you are dead, it's still going to continue on. So let's see. So there's a recurring job. So recurring job display the names in the list and quantities. So it is recurring, and it's very simple. You get a list from the database, and a recur job.add or update. So it needs to create the first, you need to specify the first ID. The first ID will be written down or saved. When it finishes and I'm trying to execute the next one, it checks if that ID is there. If the ID is there, then it's going to update it. But if the ID is not there, it's going to create a new one. So that's why you have to initialize an ID first so you can build upon. We call the same method, and now the unique thing here, it is a cron. Okay, the cron is the date or the time, the often, the frequency that you want this to get executed. And it is by date and time. So if you want to have a look at this, you want to understand this well, maybe you can use a Google search, or let me give you a site that you can actually go there to get more info about it. That is the cron.guru. And here comes the site. So that is cronita.com. So that's a cronita. So when you go there, it specifies, it tells you, because you have the minute, you have the hour, you have the day, the month, and now the day. So it tells you what you can do. You can just come here and read more and try to get or generate your cron that you want to do. You want the time that you want this to execute. Or you can also try the internet and see ChatGPT. You can also try that and see if it's going to give you that one as well. All right, so let me close this. Let's get back to business. All right, so you can see we have it over here. Now let's save this, and now let's see. So recurring job, if I click on this, where's our console? Must be here. So try this out. Execute. Now it has been executed, but the job still continues. So let's see. Let's wait to see the first method that's going to call. So that's the first one. We have the first one over here. It is calling the list. Let's see. We're going to call the next one as well. Okay, so you can see it has got the next one. Yeah, you won't waste much time to wait. As soon as it has finished the first and the second column, it means it is recurring. Now, how do you navigate to the dashboard? It's very simple. Just copy the link over here. Open a new tab. You can see it is still recurring, it's still executing. Open a new tab. Now paste this and I'll type in Hangfire. And now you see you're going to open the dashboard. So when the dashboard opens, you're going to see the recurring job. Currently, we have only one recurring job, and that is what we are seeing. So this is the chronic that we use, chronicter that we use, all right? And this is the name, the ID is this, and now this is the method do's console stuff. That is the name. It is from this controller. All right. So that is it. If you want to close it, click on that, and you can just click on delete. If you want to trigger it now, you can also do that as well. Okay. So close that. All right. So I believe this is very simple and clear as well. So today we've had a look on how to use this Hangfire to execute method, to call method that you want to execute automatically without you doing it manually. Thank you so much for watching. Please just subscribe and also like this video as well to promote and help this or to support this channel. Check the GitHub, check the description. You're going to have the GitHub link. You can also get the source code as well. Thank you and take care of yourself. And I'm going to catch you up in the next video.